Nintendo, the leader in video games, has become a household name known around the world. From its origins as a toy company, through the frustrating years of innovation, and on to the dominant sales of mobile gaming, Nintendo is what some consider the king of video games. Join us as Super Retro Video Games tells you all about the Nintendo NES. The year was 1983, and the video game market was saturated with various systems and hundreds of games, most of which were of poor quality. Because of this, consumers lost interest in the idea of home gaming, and sales drastically dropped. This event would later be known as the video game crash of 1983. Meanwhile, in Japan, the development of a new 8-bit home gaming console was already underway. Released in 1983, the Family Computer System, or Famicom for short, attracted a large following and gained back the trust of consumers. Following its success in Japan, Nintendo redesigned the Famicom for the United States to resemble the popular VCR, having a similar front-loading cartridge style. The name would also be changed to the Nintendo Entertainment System, and by 1986, the NES made its way into the homes of millions of excited gamers. When designing the NES, Nintendo utilized similar hardware that was previously used in their arcade games years ago. However, this new chipset was far more powerful. The CPU processor was now 8 bits and was able to produce 48 colors, 25 of which could be used as a constant background screen. This new graphical power is showcased in games like Super Mario 3, Little Samson, and Kirby's Adventures. The resolution of the NES is 256 by 240, and the sound chip supports a total of 5 channels and can be heard in games like Batman, Crystalis, and Castlevania. One major flaw in the original NES design is the connection between the cartridge contacts and the connection socket. Because of this, many gamers blow into the cartridge, which will work, but only makes things worse as this creates moisture and subsequently corrosion. We've found the best method is to gently clean the cartridge pins with isopropyl alcohol or brass cleaner before each use. By 1993, Nintendo had finally redesigned the NES into a top-loading machine. Although this new design did not have any other hardware upgrades, it did improve the former connection issues. Nintendo had already designed a simple controller in the portable Game & Watch games that were released in the early 1980s. It was this same design that would lay the foundation and standardize controllers as we know them today. The game controller for the NES is a basic rectangle with a simple 4-button layout. The cross-shaped digital pad design replaced the bulkier joysticks that were popular on earlier game controllers. Nintendo did create several arcade-type controller accessories. The NES Advantage, which gave players an arcade feel for the game, and the infamous NES Zapper Light Gun, which was made popular with games like Duck Hunt and Wild Gunman. Later on, Nintendo also redesigned the controller. What was once rectangular and bulky was transformed into a more comfortable shape, which was based off the design of the recently released Super Nintendo controller. Many people may not know this, but Nintendo played a huge role in how manufacturers developed third-party software. This new method led to higher quality games, which helped change the attitude of the public after the video game crash of 1983. The NES cartridges were much larger than other home game consoles of the time. This was mainly due to the 72-pin design. Also, some games contained a battery backup, which allowed players to save their progress, something that was brand new to home gaming. The actual hardware of the games was neatly stored into the cartridge shell. These cartridges provide us with some of the most iconic artwork in the history of gaming. The NES Game Library is one of the best gaming libraries of all time, consisting of around 715 games which were released from 1985 to 1995. The NES library has games for all walks of life. Kid-friendly games like Bubble Bobble and Mickey Mouse. Scary horror games like A Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th. The NES library even spreads the good news of God's saving grace with games like Exodus and Spiritual Warfare. So, without further delay, let's take a look at some of our favorite NES games. Because this gaming library is so enormous, time would not allow us to include every game we love to play. So, we've created a separate video which can be found in the description below and also on our channel. Check it out and enjoy! While some of the original NES games have not aged very well, many famous NES game franchises have stood the test of time and are still prominent today. In 2016, Nintendo announced the launch of a miniature replica of the NES Classic Edition. This emulation-based console includes a total of 30 games from the NES library and an interface allowing the players to save their progress mid-game. The system also has the upgraded HDMI display output and a new replica controller. We hope you're lucky to have one because unfortunately it was discontinued in December 2018. The Nintendo Entertainment System is by far one of the most influential and successful gaming consoles of all time. Not only did it save the gaming industry from the crash of 1983, but it also laid the foundation of video games for decades to come. Whether you're a seasoned gamer or new to the NES world, Nintendo has something for everyone. So stick in your favorite game, grab your controller, and take hold of the Nintendo power.